The Caribbean is a melting pot of culture and history, positioned in the center of our world between North and South America. In this tropical region, you'll find Anguilla, a tiny British overseas territory in the Leeward Islands, home to 15,000 residents living on 35 square miles. Anguilla is best known for its top-tier beaches and friendly locals, which makes it a bustling tourist attraction. Outside of tourism, Anguillians are known to have a close relationship with the land and ocean, which has provided economic activities for the island. With so much beauty, our tropical home is vulnerable and threatened by climate change and, most recently, pandemics that affect our economy. Our environment is struggling, and we are vulnerable in times of crisis. Therefore, it is important for us to act now, as what is decided today will impact us for decades to come. So what is the green and blue economy? It is about a sustainable and healthy balance between people and the environment. A green economy is one that results in improved human well-being and social equity, while significantly reducing environmental risk and ecological scarcities.
If you look at it in terms of the 6 pillars that support the green economy, you have land, waste, and water management. You have sustainable transportation. You also would have green buildings and renewable energy.
Agriculture on the island can be found in pockets with only specific types of crops and a few livestock and poultry farms available.
Walking ground was part of life. You know, we always had food. We always had the crops. We never been short of crops, like say corn, peas, potatoes, beans.
Anguilla imports almost all of its food.
For me, the number one reason why food security is important in Anguilla is because it helps with non-communicable diseases, and it helps with our health. When food comes in, it means that money went out to purchase this food. So money is leaving the economy, weakens the economy. So if we're in a position to grow more food, it means we need more labor, you know. And if we're going to grow more food, we're going to get into the technology of things, you know. So that increases jobs as well. So, you know, for me, those 3 main points: health, the economics of things, and also control of supply and control of jobs.
Anguilla is a limestone island of mostly non-arable land. A few acres of farmland is located in the valley and is leased to local farmers by the Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. There are also several micro farms around the island.
If we really want to look at food security and the green economy from the farmer's perspective, it means that one, we're assuming that the government of the day is creating an enabling environment, right? So that means the proper legislation, the regulations to go with it, the proper concessions on bringing in inputs, and it means that the farmers, backyard gardeners, and technical persons within the agricultural sector or the farming fraternity, they also have the sort of capacity being built. It also means that I could go to the Anguilla Development Board, or I can go to one of the banks and get a very low interest loan. All this is part of creating an enabling environment for farmers to really push the green economy.
Our green economy is not only about agriculture. Most of the island's fuel-based energy is generated by fossil fuels, and local vehicles are either fueled by diesel or petrol. With an abundance of sunlight available in Anguilla, the use of renewable energy is within our reach.
Despite the coronavirus pandemic, the global solar industry had a record year. It added about 100 gigawatts of new capacity in 2020. And although developed countries led the charge to the solar power integration, for many years now, solar has been the cheapest form of new power in developing countries like Haiti and Africa, and made solar the single most important energy source of those developing countries. So we can see the solar uptake spanning from rich countries to poor countries. From a practical standpoint, I think the most cost-effective way of harnessing Anguilla's renewable energy potential is in the development of rooftop and ground-mounted solar energy plants. Depending on the situation, these projects can be ideal when you consider the installation and maintenance costs. But there are cases on the island where this is already being done. Private homes, supermarkets like Best Buy, resorts like Cuisine Art and Frangipani. Energy feeds everything, and sustainable energy translates to sustainable water, transportation, communication, and air conditioning.
Well, I think the whole idea of having an electric car in Anguilla, it just seems to make so much sense. Anguilla is a flat island. It's a small island, which means that you don't have a lot of distance to travel and you don't have many hills to climb. I think I've had it now for probably between 5 and 6 years. The only things I've done with it, I've changed 2 tires and I've put some brake fluid in. So for me, it is probably the best investment that I've made in a long time. One of my best investments.
There is also waste management, which is a challenge for small countries like Anguilla. The appearance of derelict vehicles and non-biodegradable material is degrading to our environment.
It's important to keep Anguilla clean for us, our own mental health, our own pride as a people, and to preserve what we have for future generations, because trash and litter, they cause damage to the environment and our ecosystems, apart from being very unsightly. And so as part of the Anguilla Enhancement Project, we've really been trying to incentivize villages to take ownership of their spaces. You live here, you go to church here, you work here. Take ownership of your space, clean it, improve it, enhance it for future generations.
Going green opens the door to a sustainable, social, environmental, and economic future. However, we can't go green without blue. Our ocean is central to the cycles of life and can be linked to various economic sectors. Globally, the ocean produces up to 80% of our oxygen, and 40% of the world is dependent on marine and coastal biodiversity. Our blue economy promotes the sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improve livelihoods and jobs, while preserving the health of marine and coastal ecosystems.
The ocean is a place I can go to escape the realities of the world above, and it's my personal playground. What the ocean means to me is home. It's a place where everyone who lives here should nurture, should try to rebuild and protect.
The ocean plays a big part in Anguillian society as it generates seafood, tourism, shipping, telecommunication, spiritual and cultural support. With such rich history, our blue economy is suffering. Our natural capital is being changed by human threats such as gas emissions, climate change, ocean acidification, marine pollution, rising ocean temperature, agricultural runoff, and untreated sewage.
Well, I would say right now in Anguilla, our coral reefs aren't as good as they used to be, much like many places around the world. Mainly because of global warming, we're seeing a lot of coral bleaching that's occurring. A lot of our corals are dying off, but also in part with that, we have a lot of fishing that occurs on the reefs. We don't have too many laws or policies in place to protect the reefs.
The Department of Natural Resources Fisheries Unit has actually put together a strategic plan that speaks specifically to our fishers, where we are looking for them to become stewards. We've had actually a number of projects, so one of them being in Little Bay, where we've implemented and deployed reef balls and casitas. Now, holistically, the idea is to have our fish population be attracted to these reef balls and casitas. And from that, we can actually have our fishermen developing alternative livelihoods. alternative livelihoods being sea tours. They can actually take guests out on snorkeling trips. And the whole idea is for them to feel as though they have some responsibility. They can take charge of it. And in doing so, they feel a purpose of protecting that environment.
Over the past 5-6 years, we have encouraged the local fishermen to fish offshore because much fishermen wasn't fishing offshore. They was just doing lobsters and the reef fish. So now they have gone offshore to fish pelagics, the mahi-mahi and mahi-mahi tunas. So they have now invested in fads where they go to in the ocean and they fish. The Fisher Folks Association has embarked in a project with the Anguilla National Trust and the diving operators where we are doing marine parks in Anguilla. We have at Sandy Island, Little Bay, and we also have out at Prickle Pier too.
To maintain our pristine environment, consideration must be given to our waste management systems and sustaining marine resources.
In Anguilla, we don't have enough rainfall, so we have to rely on something else. The brackish water, the rain from the earth is not enough. So this is why we get the seawater plant. The seawater plant, it can't dry up. It goes on and on, but it's a very expensive process to keep maintained. We produce about 1 million gallons per day.
Wave energy is gathering energy from ocean waves, specifically the up and down and the side to side and the force of the wave, as opposed to tidal electricity, which has to do with the sea currents, etc. Its principal seeds in small islands with a high coastline to land mass ratio.
We can give value to the resources in the blue and green economy as it allows for further economic development to benefit people, the planet, and prosperity.
What it takes for jobs to be created is for the people of Anguilla to be entrepreneurs, to be business people. And what it takes for them to be entrepreneurs and business people is money, low interest finances.
While the blue and green economy allows for the generation of revenue, it is not only about gaining profit, as our government must be strategic in their policy making to achieve resilience, efficiency, and sustainability in the ecosystems that surround.
One of the primary repercussions of not enforcing the green and blue economy in Anguilla is the way the international community will regard us as an unsustainable country, not being considerate of our resources, whether it is on land or at sea. But when you think of development, it can be done by process or by action. So what is key is that government takes the initiative to ensure that we lead from the front and we provide framework that considers the economic arguments as well as the sustainable arguments. One of the ways that we have done that in government is the creation of the BANG task force, that is the Blue Anguilla Task Force. Having it in an action-led process will ensure that we are aware of our resources. We ensure that we have resources available for future generations of Anguillians to benefit from, and we are building in a sustainable way. So when considering the role of government in developing the blue and green economy, government's primary role is to ensure that there's a legislative framework so that the entrepreneurial aspects and environmental aspects will be balanced, as well as education.
It is a no-brainer that our daily lives cannot flourish without the ecosystem services. It is important for the efficiency of systems and sustainability of our resources. We must not only rely on policymakers to bring to fruition the successful transition to the blue-green economy, as this is everybody's responsibility. Business enterprises and individuals are a key transformation pathway to bring about these practices. Let's spread awareness. Let's play our part in sustaining our environment. Let's shape our blue and green economy.